rocking with some of the realest coaches in the game. Coach RB and Coach CB. Area code 459.
What up, area code 459? It's your boy, Coach B. I'm here with my dog and my co-host, Coach CB. What's up, CB?
What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Man, I'm blessed. We got a super special guest in the house tonight. Before we get to the guest, let's thank some people.
We want to give a shout out to In-House Ink for the awesome logo that they've created, the one that we always use behind us. We also want to give a shout out to J May Crafts and all of her household items that she does a great job with. She also does an awesome job making all of our t-shirts. We're also gonna give a shout out to our guy, George Frost, for the wonderful job he did creating our team store. If you want all of your favorite Nike and Jordan apparel with our logo on it, make sure you click the link below. We can't forget all of our friends and our family for supporting us. Definitely couldn't have done it without all of them. And most importantly, God for giving us the vision for area code 459.
Man, it's been a roller coaster start to area code 459 community, and we really appreciate everybody. Like CB said, hit that link if you want some of your special gear. We are starting another mini series. I'm so blessed that we get to have another chance, another opportunity to leverage our platform. The mini series is called Hidden Voices. But before we get to the mini series, CB, tell us about our guest.
I'm so excited, you guys. This is one of my good friends. He's originally from Montgomery, Alabama, where he attended Brubaker Tech Magnet High School. There he was 3-time All-Metro selection while leading the state in assists his senior year. From there, he went on to attend West Alabama, where he helped lead the team to a conference championship and a season-breaking school record for most wins in a single season. He then transferred to Faulkner, where he continued to find success on the court. But after hanging up the shoes, he then joined EHB Nike Camp as a coach. And there he was able to climb the corporate ladder within the company, where he now resides as the senior skills director for the EHB Chamblee facility. Let's welcome to the show my guy, Coach Khalil Carter. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to be here, man. Thank you, guys. Thank you, both of you.
No doubt, man. Coach Carter, man, it's so awesome that you got that name, Coach Carter, man. That's what's up. Man, it's crazy that you also come from Montgomery, Alabama. I played 4 years of college football at Fulton University, man. So I know
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I know what it is. That's right. I was the first inaugural team of Fulton University. Yep.
Wow, man. That's crazy. That's a small world, man. I was only there for a year, man, but just to be a part of that program, it was really cool, man. It was a great community, man. Really tight-knit school.
Right.
And like I said, there's a lot to get into in Montgomery, Alabama. So
for sure. Well, we are talking about the hidden voices, man. And what's so cool about this mini series is we are basically leveraging people's stories. We are going to be engaging with people and listening to their stories, but we think that your story can help broaden the scope and of knowledge and of understanding. So I'm super excited. First thing I want to ask you is tell us about yourself and how you became a coach, a trainer, and a mentor.
Well, I feel like my story is a little different, and it's one that a lot of people can kind of learn from. As Caitlin already mentioned, I played my college basketball at the University of West Alabama. I played there for 2 years. I actually went to another school before that, and my coach got the job. I was a redshirt at another school. My coach got the job at West Alabama, and so he took me with me. So my first time actually stepping on the court was at West Alabama. I played there for 2 years. We won the conference championship my first year. The second year, we didn't have a great year, and I was in a situation where it was Division II college basketball. So, there's not 12 full scholarships going around for everyone. So we were in a position where we need to fill some roles, and my coach approached me and he was like, "Look, we need you to sacrifice a little bit of your scholarship money." I think they wanted me to take like a 70%. They wanted me to take like a 30% cut on my scholarship. And being in hindsight, being 2020, being a young guy with a lot of pride, I just looked at that like, what? That's disrespectful, I would never do that. So I walked out on that opportunity. You know, even though I love the school, I love the program, I love the coach, I love my teammates, I loved everything about the situation, but you know, just that moment of pride um kind of took over, and I felt like, you know, that was beneath me at that moment. So I walked away from that opportunity. And that's when life kind of got real for me, you know. I felt like I had enough connections. I obviously being a double transferring from university to university affects your eligibility in a way that a lot of people don't really understand. So my options were cut very, very narrow. And I actually ended up not being able to get myself into school the following next year. So I returned back to West Alabama to like it got close to the end of the year. I was like, bump it, I'm gonna just go back, pay for my own school, and swallow my pride and ask my coach if I could walk on. You know, I went to him. I came to him as a man. He looked me in my face and he told me no. You know, and that was probably the most humbling thing I had ever been through in my entire life. Um, to be told no in that moment, because you know, I walked away. They asked me multiple times to stay. They didn't cut me or anything like that the first time. They asked me multiple times to stay. And so for me to think I could come back, you know, I guess that was his moment of pride where he was like, nah, I'm not gonna let you just kind of pick and choose when you want to play. So I had to sit there, be a regular student, sit in the bleachers, support my former teammates and watch them play, watch guys that, you know, I felt like I was better than play. And honestly, it probably would have been one of my better years if I would have stayed and just took the 70% pay cut. But what happened that following year, that following summer, you know, I was still struggling to kind of find my spot and find somewhere to get in school and play at. And I had an opportunity presented to me through someone that I knew, and they were looking for coaches to come out and coach and work with the Nike basketball camps in Atlanta. And the description was about high energy people who go hard, and I felt like it fit me. So I came out, I tried out for it, and I ended up getting the job. And so I came out for a summer, and I worked as a staff member on the Nike camps. And I gave 110% effort. I had a really, really good director by the name of Jasmine Stovall. She helped me out a lot. She immediately threw me in a position of leadership where I had a lot of responsibility. But she put a lot of faith in me and showed me that, you know, this is something where you can allow your personality to shine and you can really, really be yourself in this role. And I just kind of took that and I ran with it. And by the end of the summer, they had offered me a full-time job. But I had 1 year to finish out and get my college degree. And so they offered me the job, but I also ended up finally getting a basketball scholarship, a full ride to Faulkner by the end of the year. So I was just like, man, this is my last opportunity to play some ball, get my college degree. So I ended up doing that. And I finished out school. I still had my job waiting on me. Finished out the season. The season went pretty well. We had a pretty solid team. Didn't go as far as we should have, but that went well. And then as soon as I graduated, I think I graduated on like May 23rd. I started work on May 29th.
Nice, nice.
So
That's
so it was a blessing, man. It was a blessing, man.
I love that you talk about that story because people don't understand that success often comes from hardship. And I feel like a lot of the lessons that you learned through that time period kind of helped shape you and make you who you are today. But my question for you is, like, being from Montgomery, Alabama, how did this city shape you and help you become the person that you are today?
Oh, just tremendously. I mean, Rob, you know, Montgomery isn't for the slight of heart. I'll just say that.
Right.
I wasn't a kid. I'm sorry, I said my internet connection is unstable. Am I good?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. I wasn't a kid. I'm not gonna act like I was a kid that came from poverty, but I wasn't a rich kid. So in Montgomery, the city is so small that we all go play at the YMCA. We all go hoop at the YMCA. Everyone goes to the YMCA and plays basketball. And in that YMCA, you meet people from all walks of life. So no matter what area you grow up in, if you're in the sports, you're gonna meet characters from all different cultures. And so you got to be tough. So if they know you're the privileged kid, I went to magnet schools, I went to good schools my whole life. So I was early on, I was the one that people was gonna try and see if you were tough or not. And I can just remember like certain things happening to me and coming home and telling my dad that this stuff was happening to me, and he never just put his arms around me. He sent me back out there and told me how to go deal with it. And it's like, yo, look, you can come home and cry about it, or you can go deal with it. If you keep letting it happen to you, it's gonna happen for the rest of your life. And so it just gave me a element of toughness about myself, to where I just feel like coming from that city, you're not gonna make it out and be successful if you don't have an element of toughness. And it's not just like raw toughness. It's about mental toughness, because it's a lot of distractions. It's a lot of different avenues that you can get pulled to, coming from a community where everyone knows everyone. You know, you got people who are going on to be doctors and lawyers. You can go with them. You got people who are going on to be gangsters and drug dealers and criminals. You can go with them. And so when you have friends that are doing all these different things, you got to be strong-minded to know what path do you want to go on. And I think that's like the biggest, like I'm so grateful. I'm originally from Louisiana, but I moved to Montgomery, Alabama when I was 8. So I say I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, because that's the city that shaped me, you know, and built my character. And I'm just so thankful, you know, because especially since I'm in a nicer area of Atlanta, so I deal with a lot of privileged kids. And the thing I noticed about the Atlanta area is, if you're from a certain area, you don't see the kids from another area. You don't see, if you live in a privileged, if you live in Sandy Springs, you don't see the kids that live on the south side of Atlanta. You don't see those guys. So it's like you become molded by a filtered environment. And I think Montgomery, Alabama, there is no filter in that environment. You can't filter it out. You just can't.
Good, man. And you actually organically kind of answered my second question I have for you. But for people that are listening to us, to kind of give them some context, Fulton University is on the Circle or off of Atlanta Highway. So when he says that you could go at any turn or any corner of the city, you literally can do that. Like I used to stay off Eastdale Road, and literally you could go east side, you could go south side, you go north, or you go west, and they're all different. And
10,
you
15 minutes.
Yep. And you can literally get into a lot of different things because there's a lot of colleges there too. So you got a lot of colleges, a lot of high schools, and people, kind of really stay in that community. But I like the fact that, you talk about, hey, I went to, back to my coach. I asked for my scholarship back, or even just to walk on, be a part of the program. And he said, no, I'm not going to let you pick and choose. Like that is a humbling experience, but that's also an adult experience too. He made you kind of like a man at that moment. Like, listen, you can't walk away from a job, or you can't walk away from your teammates with no plan in sight. It was like walking with no vision. I think, CB and I talk about our faith all the time. We talk about a man without vision is dead. You know what I mean? Or works without vision is dead. So you don't even have a vision. You don't even have a plan. You don't know where you're going next. And then you kind of come back to him as a fallback, and he's like, no, that's not cool. These people stayed here, they worked hard, they won it, you didn't. I had that similar situation that happened to you, but it was at the start of my football career, and they asked me to take a 30% pay cut because it was the inaugural season. They're trying to get people in, and they need to spread that NAI money around. And my pops was like, no, we can't afford this. But I told him, I said, look, my plan, my vision is that I'll have my degree in a year and a half because I had credits from high school. And then I'll have my master's degree on their dime. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And you could look behind me. I got my master's degree up. So it's like one of those things is I had that vision. I knew I had to take a little bit off of the top. I knew I had to suffer a little bit, but that was that opportunity to be shaped and be molded. And I got that lesson right from the Gump. And I actually got, I had so big time moments there. I mean, I actually worked for Governor Riley downtown in the governor's office at the Capitol. I've rubbed elbows with a lot of top educators there. My professor, coach Dr. Ed Hicks and his wife, Dixie
Mhm.
Hicks, they were my actual mentors, and they're political analysts for the state of Alabama. So I got my startup at that little small school. As we talk about mentors and as we talk about coaches, we all know that you have times where you have to explain something complicated with a little bit of preparation time or even knowledge about the topic. Could you
Mhm.
walk us through how you communicate to others during this time, and what are some skills that you use to compensate for some inadequacies?
Um, for me, communication, as far as communication goes, especially dealing with complicated subjects, I try to really, really wiggle it down. I try to trim the fat. So in every complicated situation, there's a base point. So what I try to do is figure out what the base point is,
Mm,
um, and really key in on that, and just figure out what it is. Who am I talking to first? Who am I talking to is the most important thing. This is what motivates you, Rob, might not motivate Caitlin or might not motivate me. So like I said, the first thing I do is trim the fat, figure out what is the point, what is the base point, what is the most important thing in this whatever in this complicated thing that I'm trying to figure out. Then I figure out who am I talking to and what is the best form of communication for this person. Does this person need love?
mm,
Does this person need a kick in the butt? Whatever it is, because everybody, like I said, everyone isn't motivated the same.
mm,
I would like to say I'm really good at pinpointing what people need,
mm,
um, and kind of just going from there. Like I said, I talked to Caitlin a lot about kisses and kicks.
mm,
You have to be able to, if you're gonna coach somebody hard, they have to understand that you love them and
mm,
you're coaching them like that because you love them. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up. They just go right into pounding, 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 pounding.
mhm,
And if you haven't made that personal connection with the player or with your employee to where, okay, like if Kaylin is working with me, Kaylin, I'm getting on to you because I know your potential. I know what you can be. Or if you're one of my players and I'm cursing at you or going at you super hard, 9 times out of 10, we didn't had a conversation where I've told you that I feel like your potential is here. It's
mhm,
like through the and I would feel like I'm doing a disservice to you if I allowed you to come in and give me less than 110% effort. So, like I said, trim the fat, figure out who you talking to, and then just make sure that those people understand that I'm going at you like this because I care about you.
mm,
Like you have to make sure that they understand that part. If you don't do a good job of making sure they understand that part, they're not gonna hear your message.
mm,
And I think that's something that you're really good at because in the 2 years that I've known you, that we've worked together, everybody always wants to be your teammate, whether it's an employee, a kid, somebody that's over you. Like everybody always wants to work with you, and I know that it's partly your personality, that you just have a great personality, but a lot of it is the work that you put in to become that kind of person. Can you tell us what you have done to develop this, and then how does it set you apart from everybody else?
I mean, honestly, I don't like to take credit for it. I mean, if we're being honest, my dad, my dad is unbelievable. Like I give a lot of credit to my pops on a lot of this stuff. My dad is a manager, is like a manager of like a furniture store, and he like you would think he was the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, the way he got the job. Like he's just so passionate about what he does, and like I just always saw how he communicated and dealt with people, and people loved him and were drawn to him. And he just always talked to me about being a leader, knowing how to come in the room and take the room, um, and just knowing how to get people to buy in and treating people right. Like I feel like he put a high sense of morals in me. So it's like I feel like it's easy for people to kind of get I feel like it's easier for people to be around me, one, because I have like I'm unrealistically positive when I say
Mm.
that. Like there's I do get down and I am negative, but like I'm so positive that like my negative moments are few and far between, and they do hit. Like I'm really really high for, like, I would say I'm high for 25 days out the month, and then I might have 5 or 6 days
Mm.
out the month where I am really low, and it really hit. um so I think it's really the positivity that I just don't focus on a lot of. It's very hard for me to focus on negative things, like even when I have like hardships in my life. It's hard for me to cling to it for very, very long, because I'm just so conditioned to not be negative about um, situations. And then the teammate aspect of it is just, I just always been, like I said, that's always been instilled in me. Like it's always been about winning and nothing else. It was never about, when I tried to get some scholarships, yeah, it became about my individual performance a little bit. But other than that, it was always about winning, 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 everything. It was always team oriented with me. So
That's crazy. And I mean, you stated some, really good points, especially like, talking about, when you're pounding down on people and bearing down on people, you want them to know that you come from a space of love, and that
mhm,
you also want them to know, like, hey, like, I'm doing this because I see your potential. And your
mhm,
dad did that to you. You know what I mean? He saw your potential in you. And then on top of that, anytime you give, your son your last name, or in my case, I have my grandfather's first name, and which is my dad's first name, so that makes me third generation. And you think to yourself, like, I gave you my name, I'm expecting you to have, I mean, I have expectations that are super high for you. But I will tell you this, a lot of reason why a lot of people are hiring athletes, because we have sort of blind allegiance. Like, we love the game so much that it doesn't matter who's in the suit, we're going to run through the wall because we love the game.
mhm,
You look at movies like Love and Basketball, you look at things like Blue Chips, you look at things like Glory Road, Coach Carter. You always talk about the love of the game. And even though those like movies or those stories have low points and low moments, like you say, you 5, 6 low moments a month, um, the love of the game made those other moments incredible, and even made those down moments, kind of push up a little bit more. I, I'm an avid reader. I love reading books. One of my favorite books that I read every year, and Caitlin probably gets tired of me talking. CB gets tired of me talking about it, but I read Energy Bus every year,
mhm,
because that's my reset book. Like, that's that book that I always have to remember what I'm doing. I was talking with somebody earlier, because CB and I have, she's a lot better than me at this graphic wise, but we dabbed in a little bit of things that we're not very good at, like graphics and audio and this and other. And I made a graphic, and the person was like, "You're really, really talented." And the first thing I said to her is, the reason why you think I'm talented is because my passion that I'm putting into it.
mhm,
Everybody can do this. This
mhm,
system is easy. Everybody has access to the system. It's free. But the difference is, I'm putting my heart into it. I'm putting my passion to it. I'm bringing a different flavor to it. You know what I
mhm.
mean? And that's what you do when you bring in the coaching. That's what you do when you bring in the training. And I love that. Here at Area Code 459, we talk about purpose partners. And CB is one of my purpose partners. I just got to marry my best friend, who is a purpose partner as well. And we leverage those relationships that stretch us and grow us. How do you let your purpose partners know when you are struggling or need help? So how do you let your purpose partner know, like, hey, 5 days out of the month, I need to talk to somebody? Like, how do you let them know?
um I kind of just do it. Like I said, that's something that I struggle with. Cause I've been so conditioned to not be negative about things. So when I get these feelings, sometimes I feel like I'm being negative and I kind of just push it. But I've also learned what I've learned about myself over the past couple of years is that I can't do that. I have to be more realistic about what's going on in my life. And so I just try to call somebody and talk to them about it and just be like, hey man, this is what's going on. Um, yeah, and it just got me kind of down a little bit. And just not cloak it all. Like that's the biggest thing for me is just you don't have to be Superman. Like you just don't have to be Superman. Like um be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay. Um one thing I would say, I'm a pretty honest guy. So like we can talk candidly. I would tell you things in my life. I would tell you, you know, what's wrong with me. I'm very self-critical. I can easily point out, you know, the deficiencies that I have in my life, and I don't really have a problem with pointing that stuff out. But it's more so like when I'm not feeling good. Um, a lot of times I do internalize it and just kind of just go quiet into these low moments. I know Caitlin probably has never seen me quiet before or anything like that, but I do have moments where I just mellow out. A lot of times where I come home.
Oh, he froze. We'll get him back in just a second, I'm sure. That was a definitely a strong point, though. I mean, I feel like he's talking about this, masking it, and hopefully we'll get him back because I definitely want him to tell him he can always use us for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And same way with you guys out there. If you're listening to us, you can always use us. You can always leverage us for a purpose partner. You even ask us to jump on. But I think we're getting him back. Cool.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
You
I'm
good?
back.
You good? So we
Yeah.
got to the point where you were talking about just that little low moment.
Yeah, it's just, you know, dealing with the low moments, you know, come home, I'll just chill, I'll kick it, and just relax a little bit. And I mean, my dad's my best friend, to be honest. So I call him and I let it all out. He's always there for me. My mom, she'll be there for me. I call her too. She's a great support system. Me and Coach Cam have developed a great relationship. Coach Cam has been unbelievable.
Uh-oh.
Cut me off when I was talking about my boy Cam, man.
I got you.
Yeah, man, but Cam, man, that's one person that I can say has just been unbelievable for me in these past couple. Now we have he's the OG, so
Yeah.
I'm young. He'll get on my nerves a little bit
Right.
with some of the stuff that he has to say, but man, that man has anything like that's been real in my life that I didn't had to deal with. Like he's always been there, like to give me real advice, tell me what I want to hear, what I don't want to hear. And it's just like I said, just having somebody like that in my life, like he been solid for me, real solid for me.
Right. Well, you can always use us, and Cam's my big brother, so you already know what it is. Go ahead, C.
Yes.
Um, you do teach me a lot. You mentioned that earlier, and especially with kisses and kicks. But one of the things that's been most impactful, having been around you, is the fact that you taught me how to take criticism with a pen and a piece of paper in hand. Can you
Mhm.
tell us what you have done to make that your mentality, to where every time you get criticized or every time someone like brings you in somewhere and is telling you what you need to work on, that has become your mindset? And when you talk to a kid, how do you teach him that as well?
Whew, that's a two-part question. So the first part of the question is how did I learn it?
Mhm.
I learned it I just always was a sponge, honestly. Like when I fell in love with the game and then I realized people were better than me and it pissed me off. And and for me to get better, I was just so thirsty to catch up to all these people that was better than me. And it was like a city thing, you know. I just looked at all these people that everybody thought was so good, you know, and obviously I talk about my dad a lot, but he used to pour gasoline in me
Mm.
and fuel me up. But I just was so thirsty to get better and just be I feel like I'm manic competitive. Like if I'm losing at something, like I might not show it, but I'm going crazy in my mind about it. And so through that manic competitiveness, I listen a lot. I'm a really good listener, and that's what the coaches would tell you. Like you got to listen, and you got to take coaching and be coachable. And through hearing so many coaches say that, I listened to it, and then I watched what would happen to the other people who weren't coachable. And I'm like a really I feel like I'm a really good observer and watching. I watch everybody, no matter if you're doing better than me or you're doing worse than me, because there's a reason why you're doing worse than me. It's a reason why you're doing better than me. So I feel like through that thirst for knowledge, I just kind of through that thirst for knowledge, through my experience in college, I just kind of became humble and understood like you don't know everything. Um, Sometimes people tell you some stuff that's wrong, and but you got to be able to kind of pick and choose and decide. But I just feel like it comes from the competitive. And if people are telling you to be coachable, if you hear enough people say be coachable that are where you want to be, all right, listen and be coachable. For kids, I mean, listen, all you can do is pour your heart into a kid. And that's why I say, like, my biggest thing is trying to show a kid that I care so much about you that you can't help but listen, that you can't help but think it's the gospel when I tell you something. Um, and like I've only been training for about 3 years, and some of the relationship that I've built, I'm starting to see that come to fruition in certain kids. Like they're starting to like, okay, this dude ain't went nowhere, you know. Most people check in, check out. Like this dude is still checking on me. This dude is still, you know, passionate about me and the things that I do. And so when it comes to getting a child to buy in, I haven't mastered that. But for me, I think the biggest thing is making a kid understand. If you can make a kid understand that this person really cares about me, I think you have a better chance of getting them to buy in. Now they're still a kid, so kids, they're arrogant, you know, and Caitlin, you know, I deal with a lot of kids who get, you know, Division I offers early and get all of this social media publicity. And it's hard when everybody's telling you so great, you so great. You feel like everyone cares about you, so you don't even understand who cares about you and who don't care about you. But the ones who don't have as much hype and attention and publicity, it's easier to get them to buy into that because they're gonna see it off rip. Like, okay, no one is giving me this love and attention. But the ones who get that type of attention and from clinger on people and hanger on people that just really want to be around them, it's more of a long game with them because eventually people gonna fall off from them. They gonna have their ups and downs. When they go up, everybody gonna be on them. When they go down,
No,
people gonna leave. And you got to be able to stay there with them when they go down. And that's when you'll have when you've been there through the ups and the downs, when they're at the down, that's when you have their attention.
Mhm.
Um, that's when you have their attention, and that's when you can kind of, you know, get them. But that's the hardest thing, man. When you're a kid and you're a good athlete, you're the best player on your team, you're getting 20 and 30. Like, why would I listen to anybody? I'm getting 20 and 30 a game, you know? So that's if it don't come from the household, to me, it's from the household, honestly.
Mhm.
They're not being taught humility um in the household. Like I wish I would have ever not listened to one of my coaches. I wish I would have had a coach come home and tell one of my parents that I was not listening or back talking. Like it would have been it for me. I would have been
Mhm.
ended. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all today.
Mhm.
So You know, you have to put the effort in and show people that you care and connect with them. But you do also have to know how to step back sometimes too. You got to let them go. You can't kill yourself because you're gonna drive yourself crazy trying to get some of these kids. Some of these kids are just, you know, they're kids. They kids. That's what it's about, being a kid. You know.
I'm glad that you said that too, and about like humility. And you talked about the area that you work in and the area that you come from. And sometimes the kids that you work with can't see the other side. And I gave a little description about Montgomery. I'm like, you could take a turn and be in a different neighborhood like that quick.
Mhm.
And in Atlanta, which is vastly bigger. And
Yep.
I lived in Austin, Texas for 18 months. Same thing. Like, you don't know what the other side of town is doing. And the only thing you could do is revert back to what, I said that gets you through the day, what got me through the day, which I know has got CB through some workouts. And it's that love for that game, that passion for what you do, that passion for being authentic. I got an opportunity to listen to Denver Nuggets assistant GM speak. And he gave us a description about how he hooped. He's getting 30, goes overseas, comes back. And then somebody had the nerve to tell him, like, yeah, you was over there getting buckets. Yeah, you was over there making a little bit of money. But let me show you what real money looks like. And he takes him on to Martha's Vineyard, which I've never been to Martha's Vineyard. Takes him on a golf course,
Austin, right?
Martha's Vineyard, California.
Oh, Cal.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, he's on the golf course with President Barack Obama. You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying? It's one of those things where this world is so big. This world has so many different things, especially the game. And we've known it. Everybody knows it. The game is regional. The way the boys hoop in Kentucky and Indiana ain't the same the way y'all get down in Atlanta. Isn't the same way they get down in California or in Texas. And I will have to give a shout out to Atlanta. Y'all really becoming the mecca of basketball, and y'all been doing that for a long time. So with that being said, everything's so regional, but you want to reach out and grasp. And that's why we had you on today, because we knew that your story could give another perspective to our listeners. At the end of our episode, we always come to an end, and we have call to actions, just something that we leverage from the episode that we want our audience to know. I'm going to let CB start, and you can go, coach, and then I'll finish up. Go ahead, CB.
I just want to say, I just want to leverage, take criticism with a pen and a paper. There's always something to learn from somebody. I was always taught you got to take the meat off the bones, figure out what's valuable and nutritious to you, to your life, to who you are, and leave the rest behind. But always be willing to learn something new from somebody.
Mm-hmm. Kind of to piggyback off of what she said, don't underestimate the value of being a good teammate. Through dealing with these kids, like I said, more and more high level players that I've been dealing with, high school athletes, they just don't understand the value that it brings to be a good teammate. You have to have people that want to run through a wall for you. And you don't have to be a suck up. You don't have to be fake or anything like that. You just need to be a good person and treat everyone with respect. And I think that will benefit you in the long run, because one thing about this game and every other sport, the game gonna humble you at some point. The game always wins. It will humble you. So you need to be a humble person from the jump. Humble yourself before the game do it for you.
Absolutely. And I want to say it, Coach Carter, you're an OG, just like Cam. He's an OG now. Go listen to some of these OGs, man, and broaden your scope and knowledge, because they have a lot to give to you. Coach, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank
CB,
you.
hit you with the motto, and then I'll wrap it up. Go ahead, CB.
Don't discount your value, and let's get 1% better every day.
We're super blessed to have you. Thank Coach Carter. Remember, relationships over transaction, and let love be the frequency. Coach, be out. Peace.
Thank you guys. Awesome show.
Yeah.